Tonight on RB's Toy Box, it's story time with Grandpa and Bo. Tonight we're going to take some time for the Christmas season here and go over one of my kids' favorite stories, and that is Mickey's Christmas Carol. You ready? Here we go. Mickey's Christmas Carol. Poor Bob Cratchit. Mr. Scrooge had made him work late again, even though it was Christmas Eve. But now, at last, he could go home. "Merry Christmas," he called. "Christmas? Bah!" shouted Scrooge. "Don't forget my laundry." Bob lugged the heavy laundry bag through the icy streets. He stopped once to rest. When he thought of his family waiting for him, he trudged on. "It's Papa," Tiny Tim cried joyfully as Bob came through the door. "Dinner will be ready soon," said Mrs. Cratchit, sighing. "I wish Mr. Scrooge would pay you more. He does have enough money." But Scrooge never thought that he had enough money. Tonight, as always, he stayed late at the office to count his gold. His nephew, Fred, opened the door. "Here's a wreath for you, Uncle," he said. "Come join us for Christmas dinner. We're having roast goose and plum pudding and..." "You know that I can't eat all that stuff," shouted Scrooge. "Give a penny to the poor?" asked a man out on the street. "Give that to the poor," cried Scrooge angrily, shoving that wreath over the poor man's head. "All this Christmas fuss," muttered Scrooge. "Bah! Humbug!" He thought of his dead partner, Jacob Marley. "Marley never gave anything away," he said. "He was my kind of man." At home, Scrooge sank into his favorite chair, and he was just about to doze off when... clank, clank, clank. Scrooge sat up with a start. The ghost of Jacob Marley was coming towards him. "I was selfish," moaned Marley. "As I carried all these chains through eternity, so will you, Scrooge." "No!" cried Scrooge. "It can't be. Help me, Jacob." "Tonight," said Marley, "3 spirits will visit you. Listen closely to them." The ghost vanished. Scrooge shook his head. "I need rest," he thought. Imagine thinking I saw old Marley. He had barely fallen asleep when the alarm clock jangled. Scrooge opened his eyes and saw a fellow standing on the night table. "I'm the ghost of Christmas past," he said. The ghost held out his hand. "I'll take you to Christmas of long ago." Scrooge and the ghost flew across the night sky to a house filled with music and cheerful voices. Scrooge looked in the window. "Why, that's me when I was young," he gasped. There was old Fezziwig. He gave me my first job. And there was lovely Isabel. "You were happy then, Scrooge," said the ghost, "and full of love. But then you grew greedy and lost all of your friends and even Isabel." Scrooge turned away. "I don't want to see any more. Please, Spirit, take me home." Ring! The alarm clock was there again. I must have been dreaming," Scrooge said. "Fee, fi, fo, fum," boomed a voice. There was a giant sitting on Scrooge's chair, surrounded by a luscious-looking feast. "What's all this?" demanded Scrooge. "It's the food of generosity," said the giant. "Something you know nothing about. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Come, let's see what's happening tonight." Scrooge peered through the cracked window of his tiny house. "It's Cratchit's," he said. "What a poor dinner they're having. Why aren't they eating the food in the pot?" "That's your laundry in the pot," said the giant. "What's wrong with that lad?" asked Scrooge. "Tiny Tim is very ill," said the giant. "He needs good food to make him strong and well. Pay his father more so he can buy his family enough to eat." That's the giant's voice faded, and then the giant was gone. Suddenly Scrooge was surrounded by thick clouds of smoke. "I am the ghost of Christmas future," said the voice behind him. Scrooge turned. "Whose lowly grave is this?" he asked. "It belongs to a very rich man," said the ghost. "A man who was selfish and unkind and had no friends." Scrooge read the name on the stone. "Ebenezer Scrooge. Why, that's my grave." "That's right," said the ghost. "I don't want to die alone," said Scrooge. I'll change my ways." "I'll change." Scrooge's eyes flew open. He was home again. He was still alive, and there was still time. To make a new beginning. "It's Christmas morning," he cried as he rushed outside. He tossed his bags of money to men collecting for the poor. "Hello, Fred," he shouted when his nephew came by. "May I still come over for dinner?" "Of course, Uncle," replied Fred. "Splendid. I'll see you later. There's something I must do first." A while later, Scrooge knocked at Bob Cratchit's door. "Merry Christmas," said Scrooge. "I have something for you." More laundry, sir?" Bob gulped. Scrooge laughed. "Don't be silly, my boy." "Look, Papa," cried Tiny Tim, opening a sack of toys. "Friends are worth more than all the gold in the world," said Scrooge. "Cratchit, from now on, you and your family will have everything that you need. Merry Christmas, my friends." And Tiny Tim shouted, "And God bless us, everyone." I hope you enjoyed this time on Arby's Toy Box. It's time to go to bed.